So here's what happened. Last week, Senate Republicans were a no-show, refusing to participate in a planned vote on the Student Success Act, which would raise $2 billion for education through a tax on some businesses. To get Republicans back into Senate chambers to vote on that bill, Democrats agreed to drop the vaccine exemption bill that would have removed the non-medical vaccine exemption for kids. The other bill that was dropped, a gun control bill that would have raised the gun buying age, imposed mandatory safe storage rules, and would have allowed schools and other public places to regulate who can carry a gun in the area, among other gun safety measures. Advocates say it wasn't necessary to drop both bills.
So it's not an either-or situation, especially when the Oregon Democrats control the governorship, the House, and the Senate.
On Twitter, Governor Kate Brown made a comment about the education funding bill, saying, quote, "I look forward to signing this bill and working with lawmakers, business leaders, teachers, and parents to bring this historic investment into our classrooms at this critical moment." We reached out to Governor Brown's office for a comment on the two other bills that were dropped, but we have not yet received a response on that topic.